Greetings, this is Sarah Rushlow on behalf of Baker Hunt's Art and Cultural Center, here to bring you another fun and exciting art tutorial.
And today we are going to be doing a color matching exercise. So let's begin. First thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to find an image that is symmetrical. I think of it as symmetrical, or the same on both sides. So you need an image that's the same on both sides. You're going to cut that image in half, and you're going to stick it to your stick one half to your paper, and you're going to have the other half for reference. The other thing you need this image to be is you need to have color in this image, because this is a color matching exercise. I chose a butterfly. You can use a magazine page. You can use stickers, whatever it is, as long as it's the same in both sides and colorful. I'm doing a color matching exercise with my colored pencils. You, however, may use any media that involves some sort of color mixing. For example, paint, chalk, pastels, maybe even some markers. Anything, though, that you involve some sort of color mixing. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roughly sketch the other side of my butterfly. The goal is, at this project, is that when you look at the two sides of your image, it's hard to tell where the printed side ends and your drawing begins. And while you want to try and keep your proportions accurate, that is not the main goal of this activity. The main goal, keep in mind, the main goal is to try and learn how to mix color. So I take a light color that I can easily color over, and I outline it in colored pencil. And do it roughly, and I can go in and check. Try not to erase anything until maybe the very end. First of all, colored pencil doesn't erase very well, and second of all, often you can adjust your drawing in other ways other than just going in with an eraser and removing something. It's just generally good drawing practice not to erase until the end. Sometimes you'll end up, if you don't, you'll sometimes end up spending more time erasing than you did actually drawing. So see, you can check the silhouette. Another thing that can help is just paying attention to the negative space in your drawing. So basically, anywhere you haven't drawn. Like, for example, the area between the abdomen of this butterfly and the wing. There's like a little space in there I can check just to make sure that that looks the same here as it does there. Yeah. I think it goes up a little bit higher, just a little bit. That can help you keep your proportions in check. All right. Now I'm going to draw those little shapes inside the butterfly. Once again, negative space comes in handy. For example, if you notice that this area is bigger than this area or smaller, then you know you might need to adjust something in your drawing. Now, if you've noticed, there's a lot of black in this butterfly. As part of this color exercise, I would like to encourage you to not use whatever color they've marked as black in your color set, because you can make a lot of colors. You can make a color that looks black with more appropriate colors. And often when you actually when you start doing this, you start realizing that that color that you thought was pure black actually has small amounts of other colors in it. Now that I've done that, another technique you can have for making something look black is using an accent color, like the complementary color of blue, which is orange. And I'm just going to go over the surface very lightly. You don't want to push hard. When you're adding colors in these drawings, you don't want to push very hard because you want to be able to layer your colors up slowly. That way your color becomes more complex and nuanced, and you can also adjust things as you're going along more effectively. What you're wanting to go for is, you see how there's like some little white, you can still see some white from the paper coming through. You want to leave that as much as possible. Once you can't see that paper anymore and the surface of the paper looks waxy then you know like you've completely saturated that color, that field of color with pencil, and you really can't add a whole lot more. You can make that orange darker in areas where you know that you're going to add orange. Then you know that it's darker. On the darker black on the butterfly. All right, so now that you've put down that accent color or that complementary color to your blue, you can go over that with blue. After you add this blue, you're going to look for a very dark brown. I'm going to use burnt umber here. And you're going to go over any area that had black in it. See how it's starting to look darker? It's starting to look darker and it's starting to look like black. Something you may have noticed as you were working on layering this black up was this butterfly's wings, even in the areas that seem completely black, aren't. For example, up in this corner, you can actually see a lot of green and yellow. So I'm going to go in and add that gold. and that green. Also noticed that there's an area underneath that's much darker, so go back in with your blue. And I've also noticed that there's an area around the orange that's a little more red, so I'm going to go in with my Tuscan Red. Gonna add some Tuscan Red there. All right, now that I've gone roughly over those colors, I'm gonna add some of the colors to the interior of those shapes inside the wing. So I'm going to quickly add sort of a buttery yellow. It's like a yellow orange to this area. I'm gonna start with that yellow orange, and then I'm gonna go over that with a grass green. Of course, leaving the areas empty that don't have that green in it. Then I'm going into, finally, I'm going to get to that red area. So there's a bit of an orange there, just regular orange. And there's also a poppy red. And then on top of that is the Tuscan Red again for the darker areas. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go back into those little spokes. I'm going to go over them with the Tuscan Red. Notice how that starts changing how vibrant that color looks. Another thing you'll learn from this exercise is colors look very different depending on what colors you put, depending on what other colors are next to them. Can do the same thing up in this area. Dark brown. You just keep going and adding detail until you're satisfied with your drawing. So on and so forth. So that is a color matching exercise. I'll be interested to see how everyone interprets this activity. That's about all for now. This is Sarah Rushlow on behalf of Baker Art and Cultural Center, here to tell you to stay safe and stay creative. If you haven't already, please check us out online. Go to our website, our Instagram page, and like us. It really helps us out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.